All right, the momentum to protect children from permanent gender procedures continues at the state level, literally in places all across the country. And yesterday, the U.S. 11th Circuit Court of Appeals lifted a lower court injunction against the Vulnerable Child Compassion and Protection Act, which was a 2022 Alabama law designed to protect children from these procedures, which include sterilization, mutilization, and such. And once the law goes into effect, physicians there in the state of Alabama violating the provisions here literally are going to be guilty of committing a felony that could lead to and include prison time. And I just think all of this demonstrates the resolve of Alabama lawmakers and that they have for protecting children. Well, joining me now to discuss this is Becky Gerritson. She's the Alabama Eagle Forum Executive Director and worked closely with her state lawmakers crafting this bill. So, Becky, welcome back to Washington Watch. Great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me on, and Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year to you as well. And the news coming out yesterday makes it even happier. I want to say congratulations to you on this incredible news. I knew that you and others at Eagle Forum and others beyond, a lot of folks got involved, but y'all were leading the way in taking a crucial role in getting this bill across the finish line. Give me your reaction to the news from yesterday.
This is great news. Gender-affirming care, and I say that with quotes, has been leading healthy children into a world of misery. Healthy bodies being harmed, being sterilized. And I'm just so glad that this law is actually going to go into effect. And it's been a long, hard road. There still will be a trial later on this year, but this is very good news.
And well, talk to us about this. Where is this going to go from here? Obviously, this is an enormous step in the right direction, and we all here at FRC and millions across the country are celebrating this news. But where is it going to go from here? What's next?
Well, so now the law will go into effect, and there will be the medical protocols that will be able to slowly wean these children off of any medications that they have been on, which is great news because, for example, Lupron, which is one of the drugs they use to suppress this puberty, has very terrible consequences. And those are known facts about that. So we will be able to start seeing these bodies hopefully maintain their fertility. Girls will not be losing their voices. They won't be subjugated to a lifetime of dependency on prescription drugs. So this is all moving in the right direction. However, later in the fall, we are expecting a full trial over this law. So that will be the final announcement whether this law will stand or not. But for now, it is in practice and we're going forward.
Well, that's incredible. So it's going to be coming back in the fall. All right, you mentioned some of the drugs, one drug in particular. I actually saw earlier that the injunction that came against this law, among other things, it claimed that Alabama had not produced sufficient evidence to show that some of these transitioning medications are experimental. But you look at what European countries and others are doing, just running away from all of this because of the harm that it does to these children and the harm from the medications. What did these people miss when they're saying that there's not evidence showing that these are experimental drugs?
Well, Lupron is one of the drugs that they do use. And let me just read a couple of these side effects. These are known FDA reported side effects. And these are being used off-label. These are for children who don't have puberty problems. They are normal, healthy children. But when these drugs are used, we know that this happens with Lupron. Permanent sterility and voice changes, loss of facial hair, growth of, that was the wrong drug. Those are for cross-sex hormones. For Lupron, halting social, sexual, emotional, and intellectual development, arresting bone growth, decreased bone thickness, prevention of brain maturation, and causing immature growth of sexual organs and infertility. We know these are a problem. We know these are a side effect. It's good that we are stopping these. And then the same kind of side effects happen with the cross-sex hormones, but also strokes, liver disease, blood clots, diabetes, migraines, heart disease. All of these things can happen to these children. And so we are just thrilled that we're putting a halt to this and hoping that as we are seeing more and more detransitioners across the country and across the world, just totally in remorse of what they have done to their bodies and trying to stop others from going into this, we're hoping that the tide socially will begin to turn and that people will realize they need to focus on the mental health, compassionate talk therapy to get to the bottom root of why they hate their bodies and find out if there are any other medical conditions like autism or compulsive obsessive disorders. There are other things that can push children into, gender dysphoria and can compound the issue. So it's time to step back from medical high-risk interventions and do the talk therapy and help these children. One other thing I wanted to mention, there is not one long-term comprehensive study that shows that these interventions help the mental health of these children. So this is all great news.